A huge win. Just to elaborate on what we spoke about out on the track, he just has not failed to perform this afternoon and not failed to impress.
No, well, that's what we're hoping we're going to see today. It was just a matter of whether he could get out of the gates and get himself into a nice position. And to his credit, he becomes really bold today. But he obviously had Wellington's success holding their spot inside the young into the first corner and trying to make me do a little bit of work. So of course, you know, I was worried that doing the extra bit of work on him might be a telling factor, but his horse just continues to get better. And like I said, I feel like we're going to see a better horse again next season. So the sky's the limit for him at the moment.
What is it about him, Zach? I know we've spoken extensively about this horse, obviously down through his Group 1 wins, and obviously since he started, he's always been very good. But what is it in your mind that sets this horse apart from other very good horses, notably sprinters that you bring?
He's not similar to any other sprinter I've ridden. He's not explosive out of the gate. He doesn't travel like your normal winning sprinter does, and he doesn't really seem like he explodes. So he's very unassuming. Obviously, getting him out of the gate cleanly is always an issue, but once he gets out of the gate, he's such a fast horse. You can ride him anywhere, inside, outside. He's versatile in his racing style. He's come from further back in the field. He's led. He's stalked the leaders. So I think his versatility and the fact that he can obviously go further than 1200. We've obviously seen he's putting his best peak performance so far at 14. I don't know how they'll rate him on today's performance, but prior to today, his peak performance was at 14, so most sprinters can't run that far, and he obviously can. So I think that's, you know, it's probably what he's got that those other sprinters haven't.
And I guess that attitude that he does possess was noticeable today with the race, the way the race was run, because it didn't go overly hard in the early part, and obviously you and he found yourselves just a little bit deeper than probably ideal, but I guess the fact he's able to settle and do what's willing and what's asked of him certainly played to his strengths today.
Yeah, and you see him in the parade as well. He's such a lovely horse. He's very laid back, and you know, he just conserves his energy for when he needs it in the race.
I'll put the question to you. You mentioned going further. Obviously, there have been races thrown out there, like a Yasuda Kidden and Everest possibly, and then there's Sprinter Stakes races as well. Where would Zach Panton like this horse to go if he could choose?
I don't train or own him, so it's not my decision.
But you do think he will get further. Obviously, 14 he's accomplished. Do you think a mile as well within his compass as well?
Until they run over the distance, you can never be sure, and the mile in Japan is a very testing mile. So, you know, I'm not going to say he can't run the distance, because obviously his racing mannerisms will help him. He'll get into his position and he'll relax and conserve his energy until he needs to produce. So he's going to give himself a chance to run it, but like I always say, until you run a horse over the distance, you can't be sure.
Zach, you've been a permanent fixture at this meeting for many years now, of course. How special is that win compared to other wins that you've had at this meeting?
They're all special. They're all different in their own way. All the horses are different. The connections are different. The path to get here is different. So, you know, they all mean a lot. And obviously, this horse from Manfred, the tail end of his career, and maybe the tail end of mine as well, is a good anyway for both of us to go out.
Might you elaborate on that? Possibly you mentioned
no, nothing's been said there.
No, okay, fair enough. Manfred Man, well done. That was a spectacular win here this afternoon. You must be very proud of your horse.
Yes, very proud.
Coming into today's race, he won his trial. Were you always expecting a performance of that quality? I mean, he quickened away and beat some very smart horses in good style. Were you always confident he could do that today?
Yes, because when the same horse racing last time, you know, I feel myself have confidence to say he can win.
You've gone close in this race in the past, Manfred. 2020, big time baby, ran second. You've always been quite a capable trainer with sprinters and any horse, but very special to win this race today.
For me, it's very special.
Let's have a look going forward, Manfred. Now, there obviously have been these races mentioned. You mentioned to me when he won last time that there might be a trip to Japan on the cards. What does his future look like now going forward for Lucky Swainers?
I think at this moment we're thinking about 12 or 14 distance. You know? 1 mile we still concerned the distance.
What sort of races do you have in mind then at sort of 12 and 1400 metres? Would a race like the Everest later in the year be in serious consideration with him?
Sure is better.
Yeah. And so if he was to go abroad, what races would you perhaps aim at if he was to go overseas?
We're still thinking, at this moment, I need to discuss with the owner first, hard to tell everybody I will go to there or what distant other country like that, When we make a decision, we are going to tell everybody.
We look forward to that. I guess more closer to home, in last year's international race, he was very unlucky. He ran sick. I'm guessing that might be one race that you would love to try and win, given he was unlucky last time.
In that race, of course, we all not happy because racing is racing. What can you do? Lose is lose, winner is winner.
I guess going forward, that will certainly be on his radar, that race. Manfred, Zach made mention this is probably towards the tail end of your career. I guess just to have a horse like Lucky Sweynesse come along at this stage, it must be incredibly fulfilling for you because he's been such a special horse for you and the team. How do you sum him up, this horse?
For all the trainer, this horse should be very special. Yeah.
And from obviously an early stage, he's shown how his quality. The type of horse he is, Manfred, as well. We saw him out on the track. He's a very relaxed type of horse. He almost is developing into the perfect sprinter, isn't he?
Yeah. In a stable or in the morning training, he's very quiet. He do nothing wrong. And for me, it's quite easy to train it. You just keep his form enough. No need push that hard because he's 4 years old. He still have future.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got a big future, Manfred. Many congratulations today. Hope you enjoyed the moment. It's a big win for you and your stable. Well deserved. Many congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.